Hey friends, today on Gardening with Creekside, we're doing a little dressing up to the front daylily bed here in front of the house. And I want to share with you the great flower bed that is filled with gorgeous lantana that was planted yesterday. We have got Jerry here. I have got Andrew running back and forth on the Bobcat, filling up this bed with mulch that we are going to get spread. So let me just give you an overview of the area we are working in today so that you can get a good perspective of where we are and what we are doing. We call this the daylily bed because we have this massive row of yellow daylilies coming in front of the house that separates, quote, the nice yard over here from the front field. Jer is over there, of course, just shoveling his little heart out with the mulch. And then we have the field here, and then that is the berm. So that gives you a perspective of where we are. The daylilies are full of buds. They are going to be flowering probably within, we might get a bloom within the next week, but they will be in full bloom the next 2 to 3 weeks. It's always really about the 1st of June, but these are just gorgeous traditional yellow daylilies. We actually took these all from divisions from my mom's house when we moved in here 19 years ago because we needed something to help stop the water flowing. So she had all of these little divisions of daylilies, and we planted them, and they were teeny tiny, and here they are almost 20 years later. It is a double row, but just gorgeous. And so here we go. That is what is happening here because this bed, we are right here at the driveway, so you can see the gravel here. We have this little section of an annual bed that we always plant. In the center of the bed is a hibiscus that Jerry started from seed, oh gosh, probably like 10 years ago, well before we knew about the summerific hibiscus. It is a beautiful deep red. And so this year we have the luscious lemon zest planted all around in front of it. And then green sweet potato vine. This is, I think, the Bewitched with Envy. And so there is no irrigation on this bed. Mama planted this for me, I don't know, maybe a week, 2 weeks ago, and gorgeous, pure yellow flowers on this, a nice, really rich color. And then the Bewitched with Envy is over here, covered in a little mulch, but it has a nice, fun, different leaf to it, and that will fill in quite nicely. So then as we work our way down this flower bed, really it is just a nice, empty kind of flower bed for here. So the mulch really dresses it up. And then down there at the bottom underneath the crepe myrtles, we have got some summerific hibiscus, our bird feeders, and hydrangeas down there. And then at the very, very end, we have some weigillas. So there you go. That kind of gives you a perspective of this flower bed, and it just makes a huge difference. Getting that nice fresh mulch in here dresses it up. And we've always talked about how mulch is a wonderful way. We like mulch over pine needles. Of course, we are North Carolina Zone 7B, and pine needles are just like classic Southern, right? So you use that on your flower beds. And we love the look of pine needles when they go down, but we are in full sun. And so those pine needles just like burn up and break down really fast. And they don't hold the moisture in the soil like mulch does. They also don't provide as high of a weed protection as mulch does. And then as the mulch breaks down, it turns into compost, which helps feed the soil. So I'm not anti-pine needles. I love the look of pine needles. They're gorgeous. We have just found in our full sun gardens that mulch does a better job of retaining moisture, suppressing weeds, and then as it breaks down, it turns into compost. My mom in her dry shade garden has nothing but pine needles. She doesn't have one piece of mulch in her yard. So it's all about where your yard is, the conditions for your yard. And so you, as a student of your own garden, make the best decision for your garden. What I'm also going to do today is, well, we're going to show you right quick this beautiful bed that was planted yesterday, and it is full of this same lantana. The only annual in this bed right now is a massive, massive bed of that Luscious Lemon Zest Lantana. So yesterday, Andrew and Randy came and they prepped this bed and planted this bed for us because, bless her heart, our oldest daughter, Emily, had all 4 of her wisdom teeth removed yesterday. And if you've ever had any kind of dental work done or wisdom teeth removed, you know that that day that you actually get the procedure done, you need somebody to take care of you and kind of hold your hand and change the ice packs and do all that other good stuff. So that is what I was doing yesterday. And so Randy and Andrew came and did this and did an amazing job for it. So don't ever think that you have to do all this garden work by yourself. No, when you need help, you need help. And for us right now, it is absolute go time to get these annuals in the ground because, like I said, North Carolina Zone 7B, the heat is going to hit here consistently really soon, and I need to get these annuals in the ground. And so we are taking help, absolutely. I am not too proud to say that I need help. So we take help when we can get it, absolutely. But the absolute fantastic thing about this Lantana is, one, Randy did an amazing job of getting it laid out in here because we want to have beautiful, full coverage of this bed. There is irrigation in this bed. You cannot see it because it is underneath the, we use the black gold raised bed mix. Actually, you can see, I lied. You can see a little bit right here. That is not a snake. That is the irrigation tubing right here. So we do have good irrigation in this bed because it gets so much sun and gets really dry because of our beautiful trees that are right here. So lots of trees, they soak up this water from this bed. And so by having the irrigation in here, the Lantana is basically going to form this huge mat of yellow color. We had the lemon zest last year, right where I was with that hibiscus, and it was stunning. It is a beautiful mounding habit, not crazy tall, a nice size to it. It would work really well like in a large container, and you absolutely do not have to plant 10 million plants like that. What is in this bed to get a beautiful effect. But it is a great design tip when you have big wide open spaces that you need people to see color from a distance, is to plant that same plant in mass, right? So when I say in mass, it could be 2 plants together, it could be 5 plants together, but you're planting them in groups relatively close to one another so that when they grow, they look like one very large plant. So whether, again, you have to take what we're doing and scale it to your garden, your design. Fully recognize that most people do not have this amount of room or the access to this amount of plants. And so this is what is working for us. It will make a huge impact for our customers, even though this is on the private gardens at the house. So our customers won't be like coming up here and walking right up to it and seeing it. But from a distance, because it's this bright yellow and it's in mass, it will make a huge statement and they will be able to see it from a distance. So that is what we're doing in here. We do have some azaleas in here. This is the Encore azalea. It is a pink variety. I want to say it's royalty. And then in the very back that is blooming right now, we have the Brandywine viburnums. These are a beautiful viburnum from Proven Winners. They are deciduous, but it's really fun. And we have, you can see that they're planted here, and they're actually planted all down the wood line. Right now, they are blooming, and these beautiful white flowers will turn into berries, and the berries turn blue and pink. Beautiful glossy foliage on it, nice plant. It'll get to be about, I wanna say 5 feet tall, 4 to 5 feet tall, and so Brandywine viburnums are just really fun to have in your flower bed. Now, Randy and Andrew did leave me one little pocket of space that I can plant some annuals in. So what we're gonna do is, there goes Andrew and the bobcat. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna plant some Surefire Red begonias over here. So let me show you where we're going right here. Now, I have been a massive fan of Surefire begonias for many years because Surefire begonias can do sun or shade, anything in between. So it really does not matter what your sun conditions are. The Surefires are Surefire winners and will do a great job. We are going to go with Surefire Red because it will continue with our kind of color scheme. So here we have, you can see that little area right behind where Brenda is, where the raised bed mix is. That area we're going to fill in with the Surefire Red begonias. So we're going to have red here, then we'll have all the yellow lantana, and then of course where Jerry and Andrew are right now, that same yellow lantana, that red hibiscus there, and then when the daylilies are blooming, of course you'll have massive yellow all down the front of the house. And then panning over here to the house, if you will remember, we did yellow and red in our hanging baskets, of course, with our red front door and the red geraniums in front of the house. So all of those colors will really tie in together. So that makes it like a really nice, cohesive design, and so your eye just flows really well. Where we have the same plants repeated, that yellow lantana is repeated, then we have red in 3 different areas, the hibiscus, the begonias, and then they're at the house. So that is what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and get these begonias planted while the fellas are working on the mulch, and then once I get that done, then I'm going to hop over there and help them spread that mulch out. All right, friends, so we've got 11 of the Surefire Red begonias here in this little nook of a corner, and already it looks fantastic. I was walking back from the garage over here, and you can see this red from already a good distance away. So super excited about this. Now, I roughly planted these about 1 foot apart from one another. That is the minimum spacing for your Surefire Reds. And of course the Surefires they come in red, they come in rose, and then this year they had the new white and the cherry cordial. So it really depends on what your color palette is as to which one you're going to choose. They all have the same growing conditions and you're going to treat them the same. It is just a color preference. So I planted them at the 12 inches apart from each other because I want them to fill in and look like one massive plant. If you want them to be spread apart, you absolutely can do that. So you can pull them apart really as much as you need to, especially if you want to see the individual plant. These also do really well in containers. So if you're going to do it in a container, I would recommend just doing one unless it's a really massive container, because these will get some nice heft to them, both wide and tall. Now, there is irrigation in this bed, as we talked about. However, there is not any drip irrigation on this section right here, and I am underneath a massive tulip poplar tree. So I am going to add in some drip irrigation to this section. Your Surefires do not have to have loads of water. They are not one of those fussy, picky plants. However, in this area, because we are on a slope, we are underneath trees, this water will definitely benefit them really well. So I am going to tie in to the existing irrigation. I have a summerific hibiscus right here. It is on the smaller side. It got planted last year. Your summerifics can take tons of water, right? They can actually be a bog plant. So I'm gonna tie in, I'm gonna hit it again. It does have a dripper on it, but I'm gonna hit it one more time because why not? You know, we're laying some irrigation, and then I'm gonna do like a 2 rows. So I'm gonna come above right here. So that way, because we're on a slope, it'll drain and it'll get this row, then I'll loop back around and go behind this top row again, so it will drain down and catch those, and then tie back in to the existing irrigation. We do have a black line that connects these beds. It is a solid line, meaning there's no emitters built in. The brown tubing has emitters built in, and the one I'm going to use today is that every 12 inches there is an emitter, and I think it's like a gallon per hour. So as long as I can get some good water on these a couple of times a week, they will be very happy. So that is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to lay that irrigation tubing in here, and then we're going to come back with the black gold raised bed planting mix. When Randy and Andrew planted the Lantana, they did lay down tons of this because this is wonderful. You can plant directly in this raised bed mix. It has got aged pine bark in there. It has got compost. It's got earthworm castings. Really nice nutritional value for your plants in there. They did a nice little top dress for this right here, but then when I was digging my holes, and then I'm going to lay this irrigation down, I want to kind of cover all of that back up and make it look nice and pretty. So I'm going to come back with 2 more bags and do a top dressing of this area so it all looks nice and clean and cohesive, and then the bed will be finished. So I'm going to grab my irrigation box, all my tools, and we're going to get this all connected up. All right, my friends, today's project is complete. It was a very small project, but man, when you put the whole project together where the work has been done over the past 2 days, it makes a huge difference. I am all about neat and clean and tidy, and a fresh layer of mulch is exactly what will make that happen. So the Surefire begonias up here on that corner will just really pop and look fantastic as they grow and develop, and as the Lantana gets nice and bigger, this area is going to do great. You can see that we do have the overhang of the poplar tree right here. That's what's wonderful about these Surefires, sun or shade. So they're completely in the shade right now. It is almost 12 o'clock, but then the sun will come and hit it from this direction, so it will get direct afternoon sun, and it's very hot sun. So I don't really have to worry about the sun conditions on these at all. You saw Jackson was helping me put the irrigation in, and now it has all, quote, disappeared. You can see that the fresh soil is a little darker. That's just because it's more moist. As soon as the sun hits it and it dries out, it will all be the same color as the existing raised bed mix. But we just tied in here, and then of course went behind the back row, and then poor Jackson, he put it in front of these guys, and I was like, no babe, we got to put it in the back, because if we had left that irrigation down here below, all that water would have just shot down, and that second row, or the first row rather, would not have received any water whatsoever. And then we just brought it back and then just tied in right where the Lantana is. So that's why we have fresh soil right there as well. But this whole space is just going to look absolutely gorgeous in a very short amount of time. In 2 weeks, it'll be amazing the difference that these plants will have grown and developed. And then you can see, trying to slow down a little bit, directly across the road here we have the same lantana with a beautiful red hibiscus that will get nice and big. So that hibiscus will take up that whole area. This is not going to be on irrigation. It's not on irrigation, has never been on irrigation. We watered it a couple of times when it first went in with the tractor and the water tank, and it should be okay now at this point because of adding that nice mulch that will retain moisture. But this whole area right here is just going to look fantastic and tie in, be a nice cohesive look, because as you come in the driveway, right, so you have the same plants on both sides, the red on the same sides, even though they are different plants, it will still be red. And then of course, as you go through down towards the house. But here is the mulch bed. Looks just absolutely amazing. Jerry has been showing you some great drone shots, and we'll do some more once the sun is cooperative and we can show you from the whole big perspective. But yeah, so everything is nice and mulched and neat and tidy and just looks amazing. So remember, I have said this many times to lots of customers and to here on videos, is that it is much better to have an empty bed that is neat and tidy. Get rid of those weeds and then put your mulch down. If you have pine needles, put your pine needles down. That just looks 100 times better than a bed that has kind of bare soil and weeds coming up out of it. If you don't have the money to invest, or the time, for us it's the time to invest, putting it in your garden, just clean it up. Neat and tidy makes a massive difference. So we will keep you updated on how all these lantanas and the begonias and everything works together and how it grows. When the daylilies are in full bloom, of course, we'll show you that as well. As always, thanks so much for gardening with Creekside. We hope you have found this fun, informative, and inspirational. Y'all have a great day. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.